Okay, today topic is a generation of impulse voltage and current. Generation of high voltage impulse. Okay, so today's concept. Generation of high voltage impulse. Okay, so learning objectives of high impulse voltage. So these are the different types of concept we have to study today. Defining standard impulse voltages. Okay, defining standard impulse voltage. Basic impulse generation principle with wave shaping. Basic impulse generation principle with wave shaping, and then next advantages and applications of impulse voltage. So these are the different type of concept we have to study today. Okay, so this is called a standard impulse voltage. Standard impulse voltage waveform. The standard impulse voltage is the very less time. Within the very less time, the high voltage appear across the test objects. Okay, by using standard impulse voltage, we have to test the circuit breakers and insulators. Okay, it can withstand that much of voltage or not. Because of lightning surges and switching surges, the high voltage appear across the insulator and circuit breaker. Okay, very high voltage appear across the insulator. So okay, so that much of voltage it can withstand or not. We have to check by using impulse voltages. Okay, so up to here 0 to T3 is called wave front time. Wave front time here to here this called wave front time. Okay, so yeah, wave front time is approximately 1.2 microseconds or 1.25 microseconds. 1.2 to 1.25 microseconds. Microseconds. It's a very less time. Okay, within the very less time, the high voltage appear across the test object. Okay, so that we have to observe. Okay, lightning and the switching voltage are during transient condition. High voltage during transient condition, the lightning and switching voltages, very high voltage appear across the insulator disk. Net. Lightning and switching surges are transient in nature, no? Transient manner. Lightning over voltages and switching over voltages are transient manner. That means a very high voltage appear across the insulator disk with very less time, and during transient stage, the very high voltage appear. So to test the circuit breakers, to test the insulators, so the high standard impulse voltage, we have to require standard impulse voltage. Based on that, we have to test the insulators. It can withstand the voltage or not. Okay, so this is the wave front time. Okay, so 1.2 to 1.2 microseconds to 1.25 microseconds. This is very less time. Okay, so up to here 0 to T3 is called wave front time. So it's not fixed 1.22 microseconds to 1.25 microseconds. Is varying. Maybe plus or minus 10%, maybe changing. Okay, so these are the standard impulse, standard wave front time. Okay, but generally we have to take like this manner. So wave front time is called 1.2 microseconds to 1.25 microseconds. So this is called wave front time. Okay, this is up to here 0 to T3 is called wave front time. And the next wave tail time. Wave tail time. So this is the time year to year. Okay, that means the voltage decreases to up to 50%. The voltage, this time taken to reach the voltage up to 50% is called wave tail time. Okay, understood. The time is required to, so up to, understood. So year to year time is called wave front time, and remaining A to E is called T3 to T4 is time is called wave tail time. Okay, so these are the wave front time and wave tail time standard. Okay, so this is the time wave tail time is 50 microseconds. Okay, it's approximately 50 microseconds. Wave front time is very less compared to wave tail time. So very less time the high voltage appear across the test object. Understood? Very high voltages appear across the insulator or circuit breaker. Okay, that is called test object. Very high voltage within the time that very high voltage appear across the insulator disk. It's clear. So that is called wave front time, and wave tail time is very less. I mean, time is required to more to discharge this current. It's approximately 50 microseconds. Okay, so wave front time is very less, but wave tail time is wave front time is very less. Wave tail time is very high compared to wave front time. It's 1.2 microseconds only, but 50 microseconds. Understood? Okay, so standard impulse wave shapes. So okay, these are the different type of concept under standard impulse wave shapes. Okay, try to consider here. First one, lightning and switching surges induce transient over voltages on transmission lines and other electrical operators. Understood? Lightning and switching surges induce transient over voltages on transmission lines and other electrical operators. It's clear. These voltages very short time of 0.5 to 10 microseconds. So very less time. Okay. And decay time to 50% of peak value as 30 to 200 microseconds. Okay. And then wave shapes are arbitrary but mostly unidirectional. That means only one direction. It's clear. And next, the lightning over voltages are represented by a equation V is equal to V naught into e power minus alpha t minus e power beta t. Okay, this is the equation. The lightning over voltages are represented by like this manner. V is equal to V naught into e power minus alpha t minus e power minus beta t. Okay, so this equation represent a wave that has very short time and slow decay time to zero value. It's clear. Okay, so next for impulse wave, 1.2 by 50 microseconds. That means 1.2 microseconds by 50 microseconds. Representation of the impulse wave like this. Representation of impulse wave 1.2 by 50 microseconds means 1.2 microseconds is wave front time and 50 microsecond is nothing but wave tail time. 1.2 microsecond wave front and 50 microsecond wave tail time. Okay. The values of parameters are alpha is equal to minus 0.0146 and beta is equal to minus 2.467 and V naught is equal to 1.04. By substituting these values, we have to get that is the wave front time and wave tail time. So like this manner, 1.2 microseconds is called wave front time and 50 microseconds is called wave tail time. So, okay, this is the concept regarding wave front time and wave tail time. It's clear. And next, this is called basic impulse generation circuits. So these are the different types of basic impulse generation circuits. So based on that, we have to understand the how the impulse voltage generating is clear. So in this, try to consider here. First one, capacitor C1 previously charged to a DC voltage. Understood? That means this capacitor C1. Capacitor C1 is previously charged to a DC voltage. Okay, so like this. So V. Initially it's charging. Okay. Initially it's charging before connecting to the circuit. Understood? This is called a switch that is called spark gap. Here spark gap generally we can call as a spark gap. S is nothing but switch here, spark gap. And second, capacitor C1 is suddenly discharged. Capacitor C1 suddenly discharged through a switch S into wave shaping network R1, R2, C2. R1, R2, C2. This is called R1, R2, R2, R1, C2. This is called wave shaping network. Okay, by using wave shaping network, so we have to get like this impulse voltage wave shape. Okay, and this is the circuit 2. This is only one difference here. Circuit 1 to circuit 2. So only one resistor. Okay, this resistor is difference for flexibility point of view, for stability point of view. So we have to introduce one more resistor. Okay, across here. Okay, you are introducing one more resistor because of flexibility. Okay, flexibility and stability of the wave shape. Okay, so like this, it's clear. The output voltage V naught of t gives rise to an impulse voltage wave shape of desired nature. Understood? The output voltage V naught of T gives rise to an impulse wave shape of desired nature. It's clear? Understood? Then coming to the circuit operation. Okay, so first one. Circuit 1 is mostly commonly used for generating the impulse voltages. Mostly commonly used for generating the impulse voltages. Circuit 1. This is called circuit 1. So in generally, the circuit 1 to use for generation of high impulse voltages. Okay, and second one, to provide the independent control over the wave front and wave tail time. To provide independent control over wave front and wave tail time. Okay, the circuit 1 is used. And next, the output voltage equation for circuit 1 will be as follows. V naught of T is equal to V into C1 R2 alpha B by alpha beta by beta minus alpha into e power minus alpha T minus e power minus beta T. Okay, like that we have to get across the capacitor C2 across the output terminal. So we have to get the voltage like this manner. So V naught of T is equal to V into C1 into R2 alpha beta by beta minus alpha to e power minus alpha T minus e power minus beta T. Okay. The roots of the characteristic equation are alpha and beta. The values are approximated as alpha is equal to 1 by R1 C2 and beta is equal to 1 by R2 C2 C1. Okay, that is called here R1 C2 is called time constants. R1 C2 is called time constant. R2 C1 is also time constant. For RC circuit, you know well, time constant is equal to RC. For RL circuit, time constant is equal to L by R. You know well. Okay, that are the these are known as time constants of the circuit. Then circuit 2 has resistance R1 placed on either side of R2 to obtain better flexibility. So this is called R1. Okay, so here there is no R1. Here we are introducing one of R1 that is called circuit 2. Under circuit 2, we have to introduce one more resistor that is called R2. R1. The resistance R1 is placed on either side of R2 to obtain better flexibility. It's clear. Okay, circuit operation on that the effect of generator capacitance. Okay, effect of generator capacitance. The ratio of generator capacitance and load capacitance C1 by C2. Generator capacitance, the ratio of generator capacitance to the load capacitance. C1 is called generator capacitance. Okay, C1 is called this C1 is called generator capacitance and load capacitance C2. Okay, the ratio of generator capacitance to the load capacitance affects the wave front and wave tail times. Okay, that means the time constant is equal to RC. No? So that's why the time constant is equal to RC is changing. RC1, RC2 time constants are okay. That's depending on the capacitance value. That's why the wave front time and wave tail time changes. Times are changing because of C1 and C2. Okay, there is a restriction on the values of this ratio to ensure that wave shaping resistance values can be determined accurately. Minimum value of ratio for circuit 1 to obtain 1 by 50 microseconds. Okay, wave is 0.01. That is, so 1 microseconds. That is called a wave front time and 50 microsecond is called a wave tail time. To get this wave front time and wave tail time, so the C1 by C2 ratio must be 0.01. Understood? C1 by C2 ratio must be 0.01. Then only so we have to get 1 by 50 microseconds. That means wave front time 1 microsecond, wave tail time 50 microseconds. Next, effect of residual inductance. Okay, effect of residual inductance. Each component of the circuit has some residual inductance contributing to oscillations. You know well, each 100% 100% resistance are not available. 100% capacitance devices are not available. It's having compulsory some inductance effect. Okay, each component of the circuit has some residual inductance contributing to oscillations in the wave front and the wave tail time. Okay, because of this residual inductance, there is a oscillations in the wave front and wave tail time. So we have to observe. Okay, because of residual inductance. So 10 microhenry to several 100 microhenry. These are the different type of range of residual inductance. Increasing the values of R1 helps in minimizing the wave front and front oscillations. Okay, so by increasing the value of R1, okay, in circuit we have to introduce one R1. Okay, so like this in circuit 1 R1 here introduced only here. So in circuit 2, introduced here, because of this, the oscillations in the wave front time and wave tail times are reduced. Okay, because of the by increasing the value of R1 helps in minimizing the wave front oscillations, but uh, depends on the peak amplitude. Okay, depends on peak amplitude. The next effect of large capacitance of the test object. So this is also one of the important factor to affect on wave front and wave tail times. Okay, when test object have a large capacitance greater than 5 nanofarads, when test object have a large capacitance greater than 10 nanofarads, the impulse voltage wave shape will be adversely affected, having a peak overshoot greater than 5% of the ratio R by root LC is less than equal to 1.38. Okay, by taking the rules, we have to get this type of relations. Okay, by taking the roots of the characteristic equation, so we will get this type of relations. R by root LC is less than or equal to 1.38, where C is the equivalent capacitance given by C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. Okay, next effect of test objects with inductance. Effect of test objects with inductance. While testing equipments with a large inductance, such as power transformer and reactors. Okay, while testing equipments with large inductance, such as power transformer and reactors, they are having very high inductance. Power transformer is having very high inductance, and reactors also very high inductance. Okay, the impulse wave tail shape is difficult to achieve. Okay, the impulse, because of that high inductance, the impulse wave tail is shape is difficult to achieve. Okay, the problem can be addressed by first one, connecting a large resistor in parallel with the test object. By connecting a large resistance in parallel to the test object. Okay, and the second one, connecting large resistance across the untested winding of power transformer. This is called second one. And the third one, increasing the generator capacitance without affecting the wavefront time and overshoot. So these are the three different types of remedies. Okay, to overcome the high inductance effect on a test object. Okay, because of high inductance, the wave tail time is not up here. Okay, there is a possibility. There is a disturbance in the wave tail time. Okay, so that's why. So we have to introducing connecting a large resistance in parallel to the test object, and connecting large resistance across the untested winding of power transformer, and increasing the generator capacitance without affecting the wavefront time and overshoot. Okay, so like this. By using these three different types of concept, we have to improve the wave tail time and okay. Next, circuit under circuit operation. 10th one, wave shape control. Okay, the wave shape time and wave tail time, wave front time is depending on the components of the circuit. Okay, these are the different types of wave equations of wave front time and wave tail time. Okay, the load capacitance C2 is charged by a capacitor C1 through a resistance R1. Thus, the wave front time is calculated assuming the negligible inductance of the circuit. Okay, the load capacitance C2 is charged by a capacitor C1 through a resistor R1. Thus, the wave front time calculated assuming negligible inductance of the circuit. So, try to consider in the circuit. So, there is here capacitance C2 is charged by C1, R1, R2. By using this circuit, you have to charge the capacitor C2. Okay, so that's why the wave front time is T1 is equal to 3 times of R1 into C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. Okay, 3 into R1 into C, equivalent capacitance. For discharging or tail time, the capacitance will be considered connected in parallel and discharge occurs through a resistor R1 and R2. Okay, answer wave tail time. So like this we have to get T2 is equal to 0.7 into R1 plus R2 into C1 plus C2. Okay, for large inductance load, the value of R1 is taken as 2R1. For large inductance loads, we have to introduce extra resistance that is called 2R1. So double the resistance. Okay, so this is about today's concept. These are the concepts we have completed. The nature of the impulse voltage wave is unidirectional with very short rest time and relatively large time, 1.2 by 50 microseconds. 1.2 microseconds called wave front time and 50 microseconds is called wave tail time. A charged capacitor is discharged abruptly on the test object, okay, to generate an impulse voltage of standard specifications. It's clear. And next, third one, the effect of residual circuit inductance and load capacitance and load inductance is to modify the wave shape, but with slight modifications, the wave shapes and be controlled. Okay. The wavefront time and wave tail time depends upon the discharge resistance, generated capacitance, and test object of the capacitance. So this is about generation of high impulse voltage. It's clear. Try to consider. The main concept is first one C1 by C2 ratio. Okay, so then only we are getting wave front time 1 microseconds and wave tail time 50 microseconds. C1 by C2 ratio must be 0.01. Okay, that is the one of the major concept. And the second concept, effect of residual inductance, the 10 microhenry to several 100 microhenry. So how to minimize the cell residual inductance by introducing high value of increasing the value of resistance R1. This is also one of the main concept. And next, another concept, effect of test object with inductance. This is also one of the major concept. So how to overcome the inductance effect by connecting a large resistance in parallel with the test object. The first one, connecting large resistance across the untested winding of power transformer. That's called second one. And increasing the generator capacitance without affecting the wavefront time. And our main intention is to get wave front time and wave tail time within a proper manner. So this is called, so we are expecting wave, so like this. So this is called a wave front time and a wave. So here to here time is called wave tail time. This is our main concept to get wave shaping circuit. These are all called, these two circuits are called wave shaping circuits. Okay. By using these circuits, we have to get exactly wave shapes. Impulse voltages we have to get exactly. Okay. So